A man with a gun goes into a bank and demands their money. Once he is given the money, he turns to a customer and asks, "Did you see me rob this bank?" The man replied, "Yes sir, I did." The robber then shot him in the temple, killing him instantly. He then turned to a couple standing next to him and asked the man, "Did you see me rob this bank?" The man replied, "No sir, I didn't, but my wife did."
Emotional damn.
Moral: when opportunity knocks, make use of it. General Pershing was a famous American officer. He was in the American Army and fought in Europe in the First World War. After he died, some people in his hometown wanted to remember him, so they put up a big statue of him on a horse. There was a school near the statue, and some of the boys passed it every day on their way to school and again on their way to home. After a few months, some of them began to say "Good morning, Persian" whenever they passed the statue, and soon all the boys at the school were doing this. One Saturday, one of the boys was walking to the shop with his mother. When he passed the statue, he said "Good morning, Persian" to it. But then he stopped and said to his mother, "I like Persian very much, Mom, but who is that funny man on his back?"
Yeah?
Before going to the next story, to motivate me to create more contents, like this video and subscribe to my channel. A lot of boys and girls in Eastern countries are wearing the same kinds of clothes, and many of them have a long hair. So it is often difficult to tell whether they are boys or girls. One day, an old gentleman went for a walk in a park. When he was tired, he sat down on a bench. A young person was standing on the other side of the pond. "My goodness," the old man said to the person who was sitting next to him on the bench. "Do you see that person with the loose pants and long hair? Is it a boy or a girl?" "A girl," said his neighbor. "She's my daughter." "Oh," the old gentleman said quickly. "Please forgive me, I didn't know that you were her mother." "No," said the other person, "I'm her father."
Oh my God.
Emotional damn.
A woman had 3 girls. One day she decides to test her sons-in-law. She invites the first one for a stroll by the lake shore, purposely falls in, and pretends to be drowning. Without any hesitation, the son-in-law jumps in and saves her. The next morning, he finds a brand new car in his driveway with this message on the windshield: "Thank you, your mother-in-law who loves you." A few days later, the lady does the same thing with the second son-in-law. He jumps in the water and saves her also. She offers him a new car with the same message on the windshield: "Thank you, your mother-in-law who loves you." A few days later, she does the same thing again with the third son-in-law. While she is drowning, the son-in-law looks at her without moving an inch and thinks, finally it is about time that this old witch dies. The next morning, he receives a brand new car with this message: "Thank you, your father-in-law who loves you."
No, you did. You are a oh my God.
Jack worked in an office in a small town. One day his boss said to him, "Jack, I want you to go to Manchester to an office there to see Mr. Brown. Here is the address." Jack went to the Manchester by train. He left the station and thought, "The office isn't far from the station, I'll find it easily." But after an hour, he was still looking for it. So he stopped and asked an old lady. She said, "Go straight along the street, turn to the left at the end, and it is the second building on the right." Jack went and found it. A few days later, he went to the same city, but again he did not find the office. So he asked someone the way. It was the same old lady. She was very surprised and said, "Are you still looking for that place? Are you still looking for that place?" A man dies and goes to hell. The devil meets him at the gates and says, "There are 3 rooms here. You can choose which one you want to spend your eternity in. The devil takes him to the first room where there are people hanging from the walls by their wrists and obviously in suffering. The devil takes him to the second room where the people are being whipped with metal chains. The devil then opens the third door and the man looks inside and sees many people sitting around up to their waists in garbage drinking cups of tea. The man decides instantly which room he's going to spend his eternity in and chooses the last room. He goes into the third room, picks up his cup of tea, and the devil walks back in saying, "Okay guys, tea bag's over, back on your heads." There once was a little boy who had a bad temper. His father gave him a bag of nails and told him that every time he lost his temper, he must hammer a nail into the back of the fence. The first day, the boy had driven 37 nails into the fence. Over the next few weeks, as he learned to control his anger, the number of nails hammered daily gradually dwindled down. He discovered it was easier to hold his temper than to drive those nails into the fence. Finally, that day came when the boy didn't lose his temper at all. He told his father about it, and the father suggested that the boy now pull out one nail for each day that he was able to hold his temper. The days passed, and the boy was finally able to tell his father that all the nails were gone. The father took his son by the hand and led him to the fence. He said, "You have done well, my son, but look at the holes in the fence. The fence will be never the same. When you say things in anger, they leave a scar just like this one. You can put a knife in a man and draw it out. It won't matter how many times you say, 'I'm sorry,' the wound is still there. A verbal wound is as bad as a physical one." A young woman was waiting to fly in the airport hall. As she would need to wait many hours, she decided to buy a book to spend her time. She also bought a packet of cookies. She sat down in an armchair in the VIP room of the airport to rest and read in peace. Beside the armchair where the packet of cookies lay, a man sat down in the next seat, opened his magazine and started reading. When she took out the first cookie, the man took one also. She felt irritated but said nothing. She just thought, what a nerve. If I was in the mood, I would punch him for daring. For each cookie she took, the man took one too. This was infuriating her, but she didn't want to cause a scene. When only one cookie remained, she thought, what does this man do now? Then the man, taking the last cookie, divided into half, giving her one half. That was too much. She was much too angry now. In a huff, she took her book, her things, and stormed to the boarding place. When she sat down in her seat inside the plane, she looked into her purse to take her eyeglass. And to her surprise, her packet of cookies was there, untouched, unopened. She felt so ashamed. She realized that she was wrong. She had forgotten that her cookies were kept in her purse. The man had divided his cookies with her without feeling angered or bitter, while she had been very angry, thinking that she was dividing her cookies with him. And now there was no chance to explain herself nor to apologize. There are 4 things that you cannot recover: the stone after the throw, the word clever after it is said, the occasion after the loss, the time after it is gone.